Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Between the Lines Book Talk. And it's just Michelle and I today. I've been gone a little bit. I think I've been gone, 2 months? Yeah, my life, yes.
Yes, we miss you.
Yeah, I'm a little rusty and I feel like I'm out of the loop, but yeah, I'm in my temporary location here and probably going to do another moving in the spring, but that's just the gypsy in me. But so today, Michelle and I decided that we wanted to talk about the mystical, magical side of our writing. And Michelle writes
Yes,
about the Orishas, and I write about
yes.
oracles and witches and gypsy witches and stuff like that. So uh, I've always really been interested in hearing about Michelle's Orishas and her journey with them. So that's what we're going to talk about today, our journey with these magical uh, earth connected beings that are here, that have been here to help guide us lonely walkers upon this planet. So, Michelle, why don't you start out? And what book is it that the Orishas are in? Let us know what book the Orishas are in, and a little bit about the Orishas, because we'll get into why why you were led to the Orishas, and so just kind of start with your book and a little bit about them, and I guess we'll just play it by ear.
Sounds good. Well, actually, the Orishas made their first appearance in my short story, The Others. It was for an anthology that I was doing for Crushing Hearts Black Butterfly. First time I've ever even dealt with steampunk. It was supposed to be a steampunk fairy. It was the Steampunk Fairies anthology. And so I wanted to do something that was a little bit different from what I knew of the other fairies. So I started expanding, the more Celtic. So I said that I would start searching. And I found the Orishas because I have a very strong interest in, the African mythos. And actually, Orishas, they are deities, actually, in Nigeria. That's their pantheon of deities. There are 401 different Orishas. They're also very prevalent in Latin America. And so they're what they are is they're deities that I'm reading you this because
Okay.
I can't say it as next. Uh, they're deities that reflects the manifestations of the supreme deity. Oluran is their supreme deity. So they have the pantheon that reflects the different manifestations of him. Eshu, he's called the trickster or the judge. He stands at the crossroad. He's over all the other Orishas. He's over humans. And I liked him because I have this thing with the anti-hero.
Yeah.
They're not all good. They've got some bad, but they make up their mind. And so that was what Eshu was. And he was the one I wrote about. And I made him a fae, actually. I made him a fae. He wasn't a godhead, he was a fae. And in my story, what it was is that they were deities in the old world. I now write about an apocalyptic world where they left because of unbelief, and they arrived in the world that I was writing on. And so they were more now on the level of more of a fae situation. And so through that, I started researching them more and more, and I really enjoyed them. I learned more. They almost took on the same level of the Greek gods, Athens and all of them. And there's interrelating relationships. There's Eshu, then there's Oya, and Oya's married to Chango, but Chango was married to Aya, and then there was a break. So they all have these stories, and these manifestations, and I love it. So that is where they showed up. Now they're also being brought over into my Tormenting series, the Sepions. And
Ah.
to be honest, I am going to write them as a family. If anyone is familiar with the originals, that's a shoot off from the Vampire Diaries.
Yeah.
I was inspired by them
Ah.
to make a family, because it really it's going to be a family, and it's, the Sepions are the Orishas, but don't tell anybody, because
Oh.
you know.
Uh-oh, you heard it here.
In in their human forms. So I can go on and on, but you know, they're prevalent in Voodoo, to be honest. And I know I'm going to be honest. When I was growing up, and I would hear about voodoo, and you're like, you know, because I grew up, I still am Christian, and I was like, oh no, voodoo is really, really bad. But in Brazil, voodoo is more of the religion. And there are different types. There's the bad, and there's the good.
Yeah.
The dark, and there's the light.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Orishas are actually on the light. There is an equivalent on the dark. And so I do go into that. And then it would take me forever if I broke down every name and everything. So I'm not going to do that. But I am going to say, I am going to write a lot about that pantheon of deities. I love it.
Oh.
You know.
Well,
and I love, and you know, I got this book right here, guys. It's called The Power of the Orishas.
Oh.
And I practice in New Orleans, and it actually chats about, they relate them to the different saints, because in Brazil, let's say Baba Ayu, he's connected to Saint Lazarus, which is, you know, in the feast day. So they equate him to one of the Catholic saints, because in Brazil, there's a strong mixture of African and Catholicism. And so they mixed it. And so they're showing the different relations, but then they're also talking about the initiates. So let's just say we all wanted to join Voodoo, okay, basically. And then it talks about the representation of the different types of people and their characteristics that would follow their paths of these Orishas. So to be honest, I would think, if going by this, you would be more in Oya. Now, Oya is bad, guys. She is fabulous. She is the main topic in my Sepion. Tell anybody this next book. And Oya, God, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to find Oya and give you a little bit about Oya. Why I say you would remind me of Oya.
Okay. Yeah, I'm the spiritual warrior.
I should have had this call. She is.
Yeah.
So and again, I nabbed this. This is Powers of the Orishas from Majin Gonzalez Whippler. Now, also in I will say in Latin America, it's Santa Teria that they use the Orishas in. So it's Voodoo.
Yeah.
In Africa, but it's Santa Teria in Latin America. But Oya, my favorite, she is a great Yoruban Orisha. She's the goddess of the storms, winds. She's of war. She's also the center between life and death. So she guides them. She guards the cemeteries, and she's the primeval mothers of the elders of the night witches. She's a water goddess. She's I don't know if you've heard of like the three women, the crone.
Oh,
she's a crone goddess.
Yeah, maiden mother and the crone.
Yeah, teacher. Yeah, she's one of she's a crone. She's a teacher of truth, a bringer of justice. She has the power of the wind, the rain, the snow, thunderstorms. And, you know, her number is 9. I have no idea why. She reminds me of you. You know, because of your strength, you know, how you want, you know, all of us to be empowered to who we really are. You know, you speak about the others, and your teacher,
Yeah.
and and she's beautiful, the long hair, that's her, so you do remind me of Oya. But again, that's just
Yeah.
me. Your path may be different.
Oh,
but,
no, that sounds like me.
but
Yeah, I think you got me pegged.
but it's I love this because it's just so different than what I
Yeah.
grew up on, what I've learned. And I think, and I hate to say this, it lends itself to storytelling.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
There are
Yeah.
worlds. And I
Right.
think if I think everyone can come in and tell a different story. You could come in from Santa Teria. I can come in from the African version.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't even touch bases, but you're
Yeah.
dealing with the Orishas. And there are 401. So how many different, that's a world.
Yeah.
So I'm just getting started, and I'm very excited about it. Now,
Well,
you, on the other hand, you study more so the oracles, or
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's, really when you get down to it, they're, if you get down to the bottom of it, they're all pretty much the same. It's just the different interpretations from the different cultures, and, when I did Dragon Horse, of course, I had the gypsy culture in there. And so, they were, Bithia, main character, she was the queen of the gypsies, and she was like the oracle. She was the head queen of the group, and so she would look up to the Orishas. She didn't call them the Orishas, but if she had to commune with the other world, the deities in the other worlds, she would go to the deities from her culture. I think the deity of the mountain was
she
Anna.
was an
And
initiate.
to what?
They call them initiates.
Yeah.
Those are the humans that have their power, embody their power.
Right.
Yes.
Right, and it's funny because when you talk about the crone, Bithia she was the crone, and when I wrote that story, I put a lot of myself into her, a lot of my beliefs into her, and even Cheyenne, even though Cheyenne in the story was the main character and she was young, Cheyenne is on her journey learning to know what Bithia has taken her whole lifetime to know. So, there's a lot of myself in both those characters. So, it's like the journey that I took, and teaching is all part of it. And I think that's why I had to write Dragon Horse and even Candlelight and Cobwebs. It's my chance to teach. I'm not very good at speaking the verbal word and getting my point across. I'm much better at writing it out. So, that's what I tried to do, is teach about, the metaphysics of our world. Uh, uh, so, but it's
And
just,
you have that wisdom.
yeah, but I see that in
Okay.
you too, Michelle. I saw that in you right away.
Yeah.
And I think that's why you and I connected, because I think, sometimes we see each other's light, and, each energies kind of meld. And we've put up with each other for how long now?
It's been a year.
Yeah.
And I did want to say that with the crone aspect, that's not an age situation.
Oh, no.
That's wisdom.
That's right.
And that is wisdom. And a very, young person could be that aspect.
Oh,
crone,
sure.
if they're very wise.
Yeah.
So, I just wanted to make sure that's understood. But she's awesome,
Yeah.
And I have looked at myself, well, which is my, and I'm not sure. I have much more research I need to do.
Yeah.
But with Oya, I saw you because, like I said, that the thing they say about Oya, she's the queen of the winds of change. She's feared by many people because she brings about sudden structural change in people and things. She does not just rearrange the furniture of a house. You know, she'll knock the building to the ground and blow away the tiles. So in other words,
build a new house.
She changes. Build a new house. Yeah. I wasn't saying that, but how you are trying to teach us to really visit and to look at what life is really happening here, that is what she would do. So that's why, I don't know, you come to mind. But I look at myself and I read about myself, which one would I be? I don't know. But,
well, it is. It's harder for us to,
yourself.
Yeah, where do I fit? You know, you kind of have an idea, but then our ego goes both ways. Oh, I'm not worthy to be that. I'm not good enough, and I think that's what we write in our stories too. Your story, I'm sure that you'll be teaching but I wanted to ask you, what for you when you were researching them, was there anything that was interesting or something that you learned about them that struck a chord with you, that resonated with you? Was there something? I mean, obviously there's something there because you wouldn't be researching and writing about it, Was there something there that just struck you?
I think on the surface, it was, other than the Greek gods, I've never seen such an interplay of deities before. Yeah. So I think that was what at first caught my attention. Then the fact, honestly, that it was originated from an African mythos.
Yeah.
But then after that, it was more so the characteristics, especially in this book when it describes people and their personalities,
right,
and how they relate to the different gods. It's so on point. Does that make sense? You can almost, I'm like, I know that person. I actually know that person. They're like that. And so it relates to real life to me. I'm surprised that they're so on point as far as personality traits, and it's connected to certain deities. It surprised me. I was surprised about that.
Well, and I think
fun.
Well, and I think too, we're always searching for something outside of ourselves, something bigger, answers to our questions. And, it's like my journey, when I went into healing and became a healer, and then I heard about earth-based religions and paganism and, like voodoo and hoodoo and all that. My first thing was like, oh, that's bad, but I had to learn about it. There was some reason I had to learn about it. And, there's dark and light side to everything. There always has to be a balance. So it's just you have to decide which side you want to be on. So I think we're drawn to this unknowingly, maybe in just searching for a bigger truth. And then I think once you hit upon this, like when I hit upon earth-based religions, I don't want to use religion. It's really not a religion. I just felt home. I just felt like, oh, I get this. This feels like this is me, and I really need to learn more about this. And, I've walked away from it so many times. Oh, I'm too busy to learn this. I don't need to do, I got to live my life, blah, 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 blah. But I always come back to it. So, for you, I bet you just kind of, the more you learn about them, the more you feel like you're at home. You fly.
Well, they're very interesting. And I do. Now, I'm going to be honest, as far as researching, and I'm more comfortable on the Santeria aspect versus the voodoo.
Right.
And I don't know if it is because I'm already in that mind, because but there's a light and there's a dark.
Yeah.
Santeria is
Right.
light. But right now, I think it's just more of a research thing. I do find myself at home as far as New Orleans, which this is strong.
Yeah.
They're strong there too.
Yeah.
And so I don't know where it will lead, but I do know as far as in my writing, I feel like I found a niche.
Yeah.
I can't get away with it. Away from it. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
I want to write about something else, but I'm more comfortable here.
Yeah.
And what's so funny, I'm in this writing group, and we read to critique. And a lot of my writing, I'll write young adult, I'll write teens or whatever. But when I write more of this, more with my Orishas, and more with this type of thing, I get better feedback. And I tend to write from the older woman. I mean, I know that sounds strange. Well, maybe not. But I mean, like the crone or the grandmother or the whatever, the voice that comes out, So I don't know. I think that's. Oh, I think I just answered my question. I need to find that in the book.
You're figuring it out. Yeah.
Right here, I'm figuring it out.
Well, and I think, I think you need to go have a past life regression done. Because I bet you did a past life in New Orleans. I bet you did, and you had unfinished business or something, and that's why you're kind of, every time we come into this lifetime, we forget what we did in the other lifetime, and I think you are reacquainting yourself maybe with the Santeria side, but I think too, I think you're smart in writing with the older point of view. Because when I did Candlelight Cobwebs, I call it my baby boomer book because all my characters were their late 50s and older. And they were so much fun to write about because they were really, really hip and really cool. They weren't worried about going to have their perm and their hair color at once every six weeks. And
other things.
So I just think, and so you're teaching because you're using that older point of view, and so the wisdom. How can you teach wisdom? It's
right.
Really, Michelle, in true life, most of us have to live the journey to get the wisdom to become the wise old crone. A lot of us, some kids are born, but for most part, like in the young adult books, and I'm not bashing young adult books. I think they're great. I mean, Dragon Horse is kind of a young adult, but it's like we put so much stock into these young people. It's like these young people got the wisdom right away, the wisdom and the power right away that in real life took us a lifetime to learn. And you miss the journey if you have it right off the bat when you wake up.
Well, and this book, it has different ages. I mean, it is still with the young people, but it does, versus the other ones where they were all, like you said, teen or whatever, they do have the mature ones because you do have this you do have the crone figures, the wiser, and that is new for me. Usually I'm usually still all
just the young. Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now I'm bringing in the other aspects because it's a family.
Right.
And it does resonate more with people. It just does.
Yeah.
Because you're right. I mean, these teen novels, and for whatever reason, they know everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
At the age of 21.
Yeah.
It's unrealistic.
Yeah.
Now, there are some old souls. Some old souls.
Yes. Oh, yes.
And what do you say about those? Those are people that you've met, they're like 21, but they act like they're 45. I mean, what do you think about that? I call them old souls.
Yeah.
My grandmother used to call them.
Well, they're just, they come into this world and they seem so calm and settled, and they're not interested in, all the technology and the boyfriendy things, and they're more subdued, They're not overreactive. They just come in knowing, have a sense of knowing why they came here and what it is they're supposed to do, where a lot of the younger souls come in and they have no clue why they're here, or they have no clue what they're supposed to do when they're here, or they're just following everybody else, where the older soul, they don't care about following everybody else. They're more interested in their own journey, and these young souls, I think they just want to rush that journey. We forget that the journey is the destination. So, the old soul, I think they just come in with this knowing already, not a know-it-all type of thing, but a quiet within knowing, and they're just, and I think they attain their goals a lot faster because they've already been there. They've already done that. So they're coming here going, I've already been there. I've already done that. And this is what I come here this time to do, so yeah, kind of, yeah. Sometimes they start out a little disjointed because it depends on the family that they come in with, because a lot of family dynamics, they can really mess with us, especially myself. So sometimes it takes them a little bit longer to get on the path, the true path. They gotta live according to what everybody else puts on them, but yeah, that is, yeah. So I'm glad though you're writing a whole family.
Yes, I am, and I'm excited. And you're right. I mean, I don't know, but I am so keen. I try to write about other places, but New Orleans is just I've got this connect type thing with it. Yeah. I'm actually planning to go back just on my own, and I want to go and visit some of the plantations, and I want to go and visit the swamps and just the different, not necessarily touristy places, but to get to know more. And I love the people because they're not so fast.
Yes.
I remember we there this and our art gallery owner, she was there, and she just said, and I love the trill of the way they speak, the way they just speak, patterns, and they would just like to slow down, just it's almost like they're out of time. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Out of time.
Yes.
And I love that.
I think what you're picking up on is those people, they're actually living. They're not out there surviving, where everybody today in the rat race, they're just, everything's frantic and gotta have this and go, and they're not settling down and just living. You don't have to have it all. I mean,
just relax. And keep in mind, I mean, look at, we've got Skype, we've got this, we've got that.
Yeah.
So everything is coming to fast.
Yeah.
It's fast.
Yeah.
And I think that isn't good to a point.
Right.
I think somewhere that we may not realize it, but it's messing with our own spirits.
It is.
Yeah.
I think it's taking away our connection. It's taking away our true connection to what matters, and what matters is our connection to this planet and living harmoniously in nature. I mean, people, when they go into nature, they're like, I went camping and I felt so good. And they don't really realize what happened, and I think for you, when you go back to New Orleans and you start exploring and allow yourself to be guided to go to some of these plantations, you're going to be just like my Rosalind when she inherits the estate in way up in Colorado. I mean, she's got all these past lives, and she hits that estate, and it's just going to be like, wow, my gosh, so you're going to do that. You're going to walk on the doorstep of a plantation, and it's going to hit you, and you're going to be like, I was here before.
So you think that a place could draw someone back, you know, because I've heard of people say that they were drawn to this place. So is there a place that you're drawn to? Do you have a place you're drawn to that you couldn't leave alone?
Well, I was born and raised in northern Wisconsin, and we took a trip out to Colorado when I was in high school, and I just got a glimpse of Colorado, and I knew I needed to get back here. And even though I'm in Colorado and I've learned a lot, I mean, I've just learned, just writing these books has just been a journey of self-discovery for myself, and, you know, my inner self, and, you know, how to develop your gifts. And so I'm listening to my guidance, but I'm always getting it a little off. So I was like, you got to go up in the mountains. So I go up in the mountains, and it's like, no, I think I'm supposed to be over here. And so I'm probably going to end up more closer to the Loveland Boulder area. And I'm hoping that's the last place I'm guided to go to, because I'm tired. This old crone is tired. He's tired. So, but yes, I totally agree that, you know, I just think that it's no mistake, Michelle, that you're writing and you're so drawn to. And I think that's what makes a really good book, is if we listen to that inner guidance and we're not afraid to go there. You know, I mean, you had to fight that too, and I even had to go through that too. It's like, you think that pre-programming stops you because you think you're going to be writing in the dark stuff, the scary dark stuff, and that's not it.
True.
Yeah.
True. Right. And I was at first, I was like, I mean, I'm not going to do this. But when I looked more at the Santeria from Latin America that utilizes Orishas, maybe because it was mixed with the Catholicism, I was a little bit, okay. But again, when I realized that there was a dark and a light, I was like, okay. But see, that took me taking a step. Yeah. Taking a step. You know what I mean?
Yep, that's
not being afraid
to
do that. And so, you know, and I enjoy, and a lot of people love it. It's so ironic. Many people, different nationalities, and, you know, they love hearing about their Orishas. And I didn't realize there were so many people writing about their Orishas, because there's so many different aspects. And you're right. They probably do show in other cultures.
Oh, sure.
You know, this is just their manifestation. Yeah. I would tell anyone to go learn. They're fun, you know. And again, 401 different paths that a person would write about. And in each path or each deity, they have about 10 or 12 manifestations. So Oya could also be, you know, they're just different things. Yeah. It was so funny when I went down to New Orleans and I was asking about the Orishas. And as I was saying, the Orishas are considered more light, because I went into more of a pagan bookstore, and well, I'm not going to even say pagan, because, you know, because I know there's Wicca, and then there's, I'm not too familiar, but I know there's
metaphysical.
Wicca, more natural.
Right? Yeah, you went into a metaphysical.
Right, and then there's, I went to a metaphysical. And they didn't have it, but when I went, I did find one, and they had this entire room dedicated to the Orishas. Oh, and then they had an altar. They actually had an altar, and I saw the different offerings. And because I've been researching, I actually recognized some of the offerings. You know, like some of the offerings, you know, with Oya, you know, with her, you know, she has a different things that she will accept, you know, and that she will not accept. And I saw that, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, you know, like eggplant and small balls, yes, of, you know, this or that, fish and corn, and, you know, but there were different things, and I saw it. I was thinking, oh my goodness, so it's huge, you know, and it was interesting going in there and seeing that, and I was like, wow, you know, and people are there are actual initiates doing this. I'm doing it more from researching. But when I saw the altar, I was like, wow, you know.
Oh,
So I thought that was really interesting.
you're just researching now, Michelle. Yeah, you just talk to me another year from now. You- well,
But
it's
it is interesting.
yeah. Oh, when I started my journey and I took my very first Reiki energy healing class, there was a woman in my class, and there was actually two other women, and we just connected, and we spent many years doing a lot of cool things. And I didn't realize at the time, but she was a Cherokee medicine woman. And
Wow.
the first thing she said when we started introducing ourselves was, you buckle your seatbelts, because if you're on this journey, you're in for one heck of a ride. And it has been one heck of a ride. I mean, yeah, yeah, and
Uh,
you can
Native
go as,
American, that's another.
yeah, yeah,
I love the
yeah,
Native American mythos too. I love them.
yes, yes,
So
yes, and
it's interesting.
yeah. So,
I did speak with another author years ago when I first saw my Orisha, and she said the same thing that you mentioned, that I may find that I have a
oh yeah,
certain Orisha or whatnot.
yeah,
But again, I am more so looking at it from just the research. But it's
uh-huh,
interesting. It
yeah,
is interesting, and I am very curious on why I'm so drawn to New Orleans.
yeah.
Maybe it'll stop once I write a certain amount of books. Maybe that will stop. But right now, it is
Yeah.
strong.
Yeah. Well, it's something you have to write, and it's just like Candlelight and Cobwebs and even Dragon Horse. I mean, uh it's just something inside you. There's that story and that teaching and that knowledge. And when you learn it, you just have this desire to share it with your readers. And of course, not everybody is going to resonate with it. Some people might even resonate with it more than you, Michelle. You might have people that will, like with me, people that will contact you after reading your story and going, thank you for writing this, because you have helped me so much, just affirming what I have been thinking all these years. So, really, I'm really looking forward to what you're doing. I'm really looking forward to reading it. So, uh, especially,
Well, I'm sorry.
especially the one that you say it reminds you of me.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
right. Because my plan is the House of Cyprian novels, and I plan to use an Orisha for each. And Oya is the one I'm in now, and I love Oya. She's awesome.
Oh,
And you know what? Do you think that many writers will have the aspect of the crone, because if we're writers, we tend to teach or share the world through our
oh
writing.
yeah.
So wouldn't
You
you say
mean
that?
crones or old souls? I just think that
Yeah,
writers, it depends on what the writers are writing about, what
true, true,
you know their genre
right.
is. But yeah, I think we do. I always say we're kind of like channelers. When I write, I have my writing team. I have this team of beings around me, and I can just see them going, oh, no, no, no. This is the sentence, this sentence. Oh, okay, get rid of that. Okay, so I think a lot of us unknowingly are being guided to write the way we write. And we are. I think we are teachers because, you know, people, it's subjective, of course. It's like looking at a painting. One person sees one aspect of it that pertains to themselves, and then the next person sees a completely opposite thing. So, in your book, somebody might
Right.
pick out one thing of that book that resonated with them, and somebody else will pick out something else that resonates with them. So, I really do think that for for the writers that take on ancient history and take on metaphysics and mythology and all of that, I really think a lot of us we've been there, we've done that before. And we just want to bring it to forefront in this lifetime. And I think really, Michelle, I think a lot of us, we create these worlds because deep down inside, we would like to be part of that world. For me, anyways, I when I write, it's like I just love to write these worlds because that's where I want to live. That's where I want to be. So. And you're so interested in it. Yeah, you're so drawn and you're so interested in it. So, and you're world building. You're building the world that you would like to be in.
I think so. Now, you know what was so ironic? You're speaking of writing as far as the world building. Before this, I was writing, and I still tend to write towards apocalyptic or dystopian type societies. Well, this isn't necessarily, but more of an alternative history. But and I had to think about myself when I was writing that. It was on my teen stories, and they were always in dystopian societies or apocalyptic. And I was like, what am I trying to say? There was no technology. Everyone was starting over. Maybe there was a part of me thinking we need to go to that nature. Back to the nature, just slow it down, go a little simpler again.
Yeah.
And maybe that is more drawn to the riches and the more the natural,
Yeah.
things.
Right. Yeah.
Because I just fast paced sometimes.
Yeah. And like I said, I think it's a journey of self-discovery, and we have to start somewhere. So where do we start? We start with kind of like with what we know and what we've read before and what other people are writing. And so that's kind of like how we learn, and that's how we get our feet wet. So once we learn the process, then we're ready to really dig down deep. It's like we all strive to write something that maybe, for a lot of us, strive to write something that is meaningful. Eventually we want to have fun, and we want to write the fun stories too. But I think on our bucket list is something that just, I don't want to use the word profound, but we want to speak our inner truth, maybe so it is. I think we're always discovering new things when we write these stories. And that is just the fun part of it. The research is so much fun. I love the research.
It is. I love it.
And then,
I think that's the most. That's the best part.
Yeah. And then when you get your altar all set up, Michelle, and you start, you start manifesting all that cool abundance in your life.
So I am saying that right now it's more research purposes, but
you're having a blast.
I found a home as far as my writing. I really have.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I have got 401 being supplied.
like Game of Thrones and his 7 kingdoms. Oh my gosh. You're gonna have to keep all of them straight.
That's so much you can do. I know.
So we'll have to talk about that later. Yeah. I got a thunderstorm coming right now. Well, Michelle, looks like we did our 40 minutes plus. So I'll let you take us out.
All righty. Well, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. We're so glad to have Denise back. We were missing her, and so we're so glad that she's here. And we just hope you enjoyed our chat. And you're more than welcome to come and, on the page, Between the Line Facebook page, leave comments, give your thoughts. What are some of the places you're drawn to, or things you're drawn to as readers or writers or towns or cities? Just talk to us. We would love to enter into a conversation. Anyway, thank you so much. Look for us next time, and we hope you have a wonderful weekend. See you guys. Bye-bye.